What's up, guys? So this is one of my favorite Gundams ever. This makes it even better, and this takes it to a whole nother level. And this is the end of Double O-ctober. Let's get to it, guys. Alright, guys, so this is, of course, Master Grade Monday, and it's also the end and the last review for Double O-ctober 2017. Of course, we have what some people probably predicted, the MG Double O XN Riser. So, while I don't know the full-on backstory behind this, it is obviously an upgraded Double O Riser. It is actually from the Double O side story, whatever the V one is, probably Victory, if I had to guess. So we have a great big shot of everything going on here. You got lights, you got particles, you got big old swords, you got things you can't entirely read right there. It's from Celestia. MG logo up there. Got some really good art. We got to go to Japan. Yay. Ah. So I'm going to do this part pretty quick. You've got XN Riser right there. GN Buster Sword 3, that giant thing. And you've got Double O Gundam plus XN Riser. Looks awesome there. And the XN Riser. And here we have the Double O just XN. So XN Double O Gundam. It's actually pretty neat. Come over here. And you've got repeat at the top box art. BandaiHobby.net. MG stuff. That is a whole lot of writing, thrown in together all in one shot. You get all that beautiful, beautiful Gundamness right there. Bandai logo down there. And you got obligatory front and rear shot, and that is all the backpack. Just all of it. There's just all of the backpack ever. And you come over here, and you got things. XN unit is upgrades for the O-Riser featuring sharply molded forms and precision detailing. XN Riser combined to make the Double O XN Riser. Yay. Includes 2 Buster Swords. Includes a thingy and a thingy. Come over here, read the instruction manual, kids. Yep, polybag, little toilet, all this stuff right here. 8,000 yen. Of course, it actually would be more than that. Okay, so this right here is a problem. LR41 times 2 batteries. You need these things for the LED. If you don't have those, you can totally use a 384/392, which are expensive. And I was dumb and did not order them whenever I ordered this kit. Brand new Double OMG, still upside down. So let's get to that build montage. Yay! Alright, got that done. And guys, that was literally one of the longest build montages ever. I think there were over 20 different parts to it. But before we get too far into it, I wanted to show off the LED in the head. So we actually get a really nice bright shot of it right there, lighting up through the eyes, through the sides of the head. And if we really look at it, it should be lighting up, yep, right there through the front crest. That's actually really, really cool. I normally have my review light on during these things, but it would drown out that light. Now, I only had enough batteries for just the one LED, guys. It's so stupid. So I'll show off all the different LED stuff right now. Alright guys, so as usual, you have the little flip open top, and you can stick the LED right in there. And that's how it lights up the chest. Pull that out. So guys, if you have a Master Grade Double O, you know you need basically 5 of these to light up the chest, both GN drives, and both riser parts. But we'll go ahead and pop off the GN drive right here. Put this guy in a way that I can't think of how to do it. Right there. And to show off the GN drive lit up. I always love that you can literally just turn it, and you can actually probably turn it in space, or in its place, I should say. And yeah, LEDs are not great. These things are always built lowest common denominator. I know there's better third-party ones. Believe me, I've been told. Now another cool accessory are these GN condensers, and these are actually different than the ones we got before. I don't believe the other ones actually had a light-up gimmick. So you take the same base from the GN drive, put the LED back in there, and line up your spots, and boom, you actually get a cool light up GN condenser. I really dig this. I really do. So technically speaking, you would need 7 if you really want to have these things separate. And of course, might as well show it off. You just insert these guys like you would the GN drive, or I guess if you put them in the right way, they work better. So if you do it that way, there's your lit up GN condensers. I think that actually looks really, really neat. And last but not least, we have the riser parts here. These things, of course, are things that plug into the GN drives and go on the shoulders as such. Pretty easy to get into here, so you just slide that guy down, pop it open, take the drive. You can see there's a couple slots in there for alignment purposes. Turn it on first. I guess technically you can turn it on when it's in there. Go ahead and secure it, and you can get a little bit of glow coming out like that. Now you used to be able to see it through here. They changed the mold a little bit. But if you open it up, you can see the little GN thrusters working right through there. That's pretty cool. Now it's been a while since I've had an actual fully lit Double O, and sadly I couldn't make it happen for this. I was scrambling to find batteries, and everywhere had them for way more money than possible. Even Mitchell offered up some of his if he had some, but he lives too far away for that to have been convenient, sadly. So guys, I apologize. I'll eventually, when I get enough batteries, I will totally light this guy and put up pictures. Alright guys, so first and foremost we're going to go over the Double O riser, because that is the main kit you have. And realistically, we've sort of gone over this before with the 007 swords. I kind of did a combination, I believe. So if you need to, go back, check out that review. Hopefully I'll put it right up in here. Maybe. It's from last Double O-ctober. So this is everything pretty much, with the exception of small bits and baubles like landing gear, stuff like that. Now we'll go over a couple little thingies. That would be extra sets of hands. So really you've got these more solid type hands, so you don't have to fight the fingers. The actual fingers just come right off like that. And if you want, you can totally just sub in a fist like so. Or you can use the right hand in the same way. I tend to prefer the actual movable fingers, stuff like that. I don't know why, I just do. So those are tiny. And like I said, we have the landing gear that plug onto the bottom of the O-riser, but mine will never be displayed that way, so I'm not even going to bother. But they do just plug in to this slot and these slots here. And there's an extra tall one like this for whenever you have this part plugged onto the bottom. So this is kind of a base attachment. Also, you can use it to plug in the big old GN Sword 3 over there. So you just plug this guy right into the bottom like that. So that's pretty awesome. Now I love the O-riser as it is. Doesn't get any new gimmicks here. It's exactly the same as the original. Now, of course, all the new stuff will come with the XN parts, and we'll look at that later. And yeah, I know it's probably pronounced Jin or something like that. I'm going to continue to call it XN, okay? Okay, done. All right. So we have beam blades that go on the little GN swords. They just slide in like so, and you can slice and dice in sword mode like this, or if you want them in gun mode, you just flip the blade like so, flip that down, flip the handle down, and there it is in gun mode. These are actually fairly cool weapons. I do like what the 7 Swords version did with it, with the one that breaks off. You have the extra long one. I really do dig those. And we're going to kind of dress the Double O as we go. So these guys do have little hip plugs right there. So we pull him forward and just plug those onto the hips. That center section is just loose as all get out. Now, one thing I will do, I'm going to skip articulation and stuff like that, guys, because, well, we've seen that. We know what the Double O can do. This guy is all about accessories on this review, so that's what we're going to focus on. Now, we do have beam saber blades. He does, of course, have the beam sabers tucked away on his butt. They fold out. That moves around. These plug in. Pretty simple. Beam saber technology. Yay for those. And we've already seen it in the light up part, but you get the GN condensers. And like I said, I don't think the condensers that came before lit up, or at least I never paid attention to them if they did. But I also thought that they were complete, that they didn't have a separate bottom. But, you know, I could be wrong. I don't know. But these are included in the Double O part of the kit, so I'm not sure right off the bat. I'm just not sure. And we do get these guys. Now, we didn't get to really see these before in my previous review because I've modified my original ones. So these are basically like little blade shield thingies. They mount up there on the thing, and they can also plug into the backs of the arms. So for kind of display mode, before he got the O-riser, I think I called it a double O-riser by accident, before he got the O-riser, these were tabbed in as such. You can extend the blades a little bit, get a little bit more effect in there. I assume they're GN blades as well, which is also why they plug in up here. Now they do modify a little bit, and you pull off the blue part using that little hole and those different tabs. You just slide that forward like so, tuck that away, and if you want, you can take this guy and plug it in to the forearm as a little shield slash blade, but they don't want to stay. I've noticed that there's a little bit of mold degradation on this guy, along with a few other issues that we'll talk about as it goes on, but see, that doesn't even want to stay. That should plug in there, no problem. Doesn't even want to stay. Now they have one other mode. If you get both of them like so, flip one of those pegs out and flip the other one in. They combine like so to be a much larger arm shield, and if it actually wanted to plug into the arm, you could do it that way. Actually, you know what? I may have done that wrong. I apologize. The extended part was for something else. No, that's still not tabbing in for some reason. Oh well, not worried about it. These are just here because it's not going to be displayed with this, because we want to get the bigger, badder, new stuff out there, right? Right. So, of course, you do get the quintessential weapon of the Double O, and that is its GN Sword 3, which is just an absolutely beautiful and tremendous weapon of death and destruction. So, love the cast green parts here, the white blade in between. You also get the beam emitter parts, so there. So, this actually shot 4 beams every time. It does have its more or less rifle mode, so shooting 3 beams there, and it's got its little dealy right in there. This, of course, was basically, you know, very similar to the one that the Exia has, with these GN Sword 2. Now, I'm not going to bother like plugging it into the hand and messing up all that. I am going to get it in the hand, close the fingers, and close the weapon in place, and tab it in. So he has his main weapon and why he's so badass. Now, to complete that, you do get the big old beam condom right here. And you can just slide it on like so. Now, actually, I still have my original one, but because I modified that to become the GN Sword 3.5, I have not been able to use this again. So it is fun to actually be able to get it in this ultimate mode right here, because that guy is just so awesome. Now, mind you, he doesn't use this, of course, with the O-riser, so that's what I'm lacking. But hey, it's good that you can still do all that. I love that it comes with every single thing for the Double O riser in and of itself, and that's just so awesome. Now, of course, the Double O has to be able to reach its pinnacle of power. So you have the O riser, as we already looked at. Now, I will say there's a tiny bit of degradation. Ever since I combined it all in practice with everything, stuff has gone loose. Like, this used to be stiff enough to stay up on its own. Now it wants to droop a little bit, and we'll see more when we get to the rest of the riser parts, the XN parts. So this thing does exactly as it's supposed to. You got Saji Crossroads little thing here, and in fact, if you open up right here, this is the fake cockpit, of course. The actual cockpit is right back there. I didn't bother putting pilots in. You guys know I don't really bother doing that. So this thing's pretty cool. Of course, you come in here, pop that off, as you always do. I'll go ahead and pull the back section back, like so. Let it pop. Second part pops. Everything opens up. Big old peg. Come to the back. I've already got the slot opened up. By the way, before we go too far, a little bit of gold paint right inside there. And we plug in the O-riser, just like that. Which, by the way, I love the docking scene. Always love the docking scene when this thing powers up. It's so much fun. Now, with the actual riser parts here, you got to pop this guy open. Drop the connector out because, well, it did it on its own. Didn't have to bother. So you take this guy, plug it in right there. Spread those wings out just a little bit. Line up your little tabbies with those little slots like so. And do the same thing on the other side. And there we've got the Double O riser fully decked out in all his goodness. Now, of course, you can use these things on there if you really want to throw them on there, but as we've already discussed, they don't fit for some strange reason, so we throw those away. And for anybody who really wants to go with that movie look, you can throw the GN condensers on there as well. I'm having issues with them standing because of trying to balance the front and back weight right there. It's a little difficult. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get to the main part of this thing. And it is the new guy. The XN thingy. XN booster, I guess, is what it would be called. And yeah, it's a ridiculous piece of machinery, honestly. So I guess this doesn't necessarily add any more power, but it does add more weaponry. I'm thinking these are actually cannons, so it's hard to tell. And they don't give you a whole lot of information on this thing, realistically. Of course, you have the two giant swords, which we're going to go into detail about in a minute, because I had issues while building it. I do like, of course, we have the blue and white color scheme all over this thing, including right through here. I do think they borrowed a little bit from the GN arms when designing this thing, because, you've still got these parts that kind of fold down, interestingly, like so. And I feel like it should have, like, more abilities. So you've got a big plug in here, that's for combined mode. You actually have this guy, that's one of the issues. You have this little square peg hanging out the bottom that is actually for a stand adapter. This is actually the plug for plugging into the backpack. So I guess if you really wanted to, you could use it for a stand adapter. Now I'll talk about this real quick because it's going to be a problem. You guys can see right in here, this little hole, like square hole right there. When I combined it up already for the full backpack, it's actually stretched out now, so it does not want to stay mounted. I mean, it literally just, it comes off like stupid easy at this point. And that's the only part that did it. The other parts down here don't do it. But the cool thing is you actually have some built-in arms. Once again, he doesn't use these, but they're here. They don't, I mean, you actually do use these to hold the swords, and that happens every time, where that pops off on the hinge. So you can actually hold the GN swords with that, no problem, but you don't actually use those things in like any of the displays. I guess realistically you can. Of course you can flip them around, do that kind of stuff. It's got a lot more uses than the one thing, which is of course the giant Buster Swords. Which, let's take a look at those real quick. Alright, so we've got the two Buster Swords. And honestly, this thing used to come, you could buy this as a third-party add-on kit that was more like resin or something like that. Also, there's versions of it for HG, I think. Now, most of this thing is perfectly fine, except for this blue bit right along here. It is made of such thin plastic, I don't know which one in particular it was, but right in here, before these parts get sandwiched in here, you have to put that over the gray part. It actually was so thin, it cracked and broke. And I had to glue the whole thing in place. You guys can actually see I've still got glue pretty much everywhere on this thing. Trying to clean up some of the nubs as well using cement just to try to soften them. It's such a thin plastic, guys. It's kind of ridiculous. And you can see right there, just from trying to cut it out of the nubs, you got stress marks. So it's just getting it off the runner actually will damage the sword itself. It's so stupid. I mean, the rest of it, the design is actually very cool. You got the big white and blue blades, and these things are huge. I mean, here's the normal ginormous sword this thing has, and they're longer. Not by much, but they are definitely longer. Personally, I still like this one. Now, of course, you can combine these things into one giant Buster Sword. The way you do that is you just pull one of those off, and the handles overlap because they're offset. Just plug those together, kind of clip these together, and even that is not perfect. So, yeah, that's not joining up. It's pushing itself apart. But there you have its really big GN Buster Sword 3. I don't know where the other Buster Swords were, but this is the third one. So if you really want to do it, you can pop that hip skirt off, no problem. And try to get this guy to hold it. Now, I haven't done this before, so I always like saving something for you guys to see. And you get to see me trying to get this to hold this ridiculous sword, which I don't even know how you're technically supposed to do it, because the hand can't turn in such a way to grip that. So, how? Because normally you got the tab in there, but you can't line that up properly. Let's see if the other sword holding hand will work. Like the regular hand. See if that guy will work. Because if nothing else, I can... Okay, so that's snapped in. It's tabbed into the hand very nicely. Whether or not I can get it to do anything with it, we'll see. Pull the wrist off. And plug the wrist back in. And I guess that's how you do that. It doesn't hold it. Let's just be honest here. He's not really holding it. Kind of like that. That's stupid. Now, the regular swords by themselves are not bad. So, by itself, even though the handle is, like, extremely thin, you can... Well, I guess you can. Yeah, look at the stress marks. I mean, he can hold it. That's an incredibly thin handle to hold it by. It's a little silly. I mean, it looks kind of cool, but, you know, I think it could be a little bit better, but I'll take a picture of it anyways. Alright. Alright, so one of the cool things is that you can use the XN booster on this guy as it is. Now I gotta remember how to transform it properly. Actually, guys, it just occurred to me while I was looking through the instructions, I had this thing transformed incorrectly. So go figure. So realistically, when he's in booster mode, you want to have the swords like this. They kind of just mold in right into that spot, quote unquote. At least they should. There it goes. Wedge it in a little bit. So realistically, this is how the booster should look with the blades underneath. So that's actually pretty neat. Look, so I had that wrong. So let's get this guy back into the proper form. So you want to untab it from there. Now you've got slots and tabs that will all correspond to these. And if I remember correctly, they only work side per side. Looks like I guessed correctly on that one. And make sure we line up the other guy as well. But for right now, I'm going to leave these off so I can transform this part properly. So, actually, once again, did not necessarily do it correctly. So it should be out here. So I had it like in between stages of transformation. So we want to rock it back and then also tilt out the backpack adapter all the way around, and it is not an easy thing to move, I will say that. So you want that to be up like that, and I didn't mean to peel that off the way I did, but there we go. So pretty much straight up and down. Plug the arm back on there like so. Plug these back on their correct side. It helps when you do it the right way. Oop. Still not paying attention, am I? Okay. Also, if there's swords poking in your face, I apologize. Okay. So basically I essentially had it already in backpack mode. I wasn't paying attention. So that's backpack mode, and you take the big postie and stick it straight up in his backside. Like so. And whoop. See, once I set that pops off pretty easily now. So there we have the Double O-XN, or XN Double O Gundam. That's pretty neat. It is a hefty backpack though, and it's not holding it up very well. I've got a good lean on the heading forward there. And there's a little bit different between this and the later version because, well, the swords are still going to be pointed backwards, but you've got the claws facing upward like so, and I guess technically those all become thrusters. Not actually sure. We don't really get any details along that, though this would have been a fun thing to see in the actual series. I think it probably would have kicked some major butt. But the cool thing is, it can actually hold itself up like that. Okay, so the next part, we actually need the O-riser. So we want to take the O-riser and kind of strip it down a little bit. Now what we're trying to do here is make the XN riser. So we want to pull off that, set it off to the side, pull off each of the little winglets like so, and set them back. Then of course we want the whole XN booster, Zen booster, whatever it's called. Okay, which direction am I facing here? So face this way. Go ahead and pull the arms forward. We want to strip this guy down, which is actually very easy considering everything is now loose on it. So pull off the arms, pull off the sword parts, so where we're left with this guy. And I believe we want to keep the peg tucked away like that. Alright, so take the O-riser. I want to pull everything out like we're going into backpack mode. Fold that under like so. we want to take this guy. Which way am I looking at it? Okay. I think I'm looking at it wrong. Flip that. Like so. I don't know why they make that look so complicated. So I guess it was like this, and we want it like that. So we want the small port facing down, and those little parts like so. And then you take the old plug, and you want to plug it right into that hole. And you can see everything will line up nice. I had a heck of a time getting this apart earlier, so there we go. Got that part. So now we take the little wingies that we had before, leave them facing backwards, and we want to attach them all to here. Which I guess, yeah, I can just flop that out. That doesn't matter that much. Come on. There we go. Where's the other one? There it is. Can't see what I'm doing here, guys. Okay, so we want to leave that like so. That looks pretty cool. Like an X-Wing. Gotta love that. Now you want to take the tail from the other one and plug it right in there. So realistically, what you did was build an entire new butt for this guy. Now it gets a little more complicated. You want to take the arms, and you want to make sure that the claws are facing backwards, and you want to put them right under here. Now this would be how things got stretched out a little bit, because apparently these pegs are just a hair bigger than the ones on the other thing, or I did something wrong. Now it's always possible that I did something wrong, because look, there's a little tab right inside there. Odds are I wasn't paying attention and I screwed that up. And I think for the most part these stay the same, but we need to pull these little guys off. So these are slotted in right in there. Go ahead and pull that off. And we want these coming to the outside. How is that possible? Hold on. So we want this to be facing inward like so. I was right. But that's where, once again, I said I think that's how that got stretched out, because that's really tight. Alright, so let's just go ahead and put these both on like so. The big old sword facing outward. Plug this guy in like so. And one of my favorite parts, you take the thrusters, and with them coming up, you actually plug them in right into here. Right into here. There we go. Right into here. It's all the right into here's, guys. Okay, so holy crap. There is your XN riser backpack. That is ridiculous. So now what I wanted to do the actual XN riser itself. We'll get to that in a minute. So you want to take the whole giant mess using the original plugs and plug it in to the backpack. Now there's a cool thing, because obviously that backpack is going to be ridiculously heavy. Now you can have it to where it's just leaning on the swords, but if you want to hold the swords, you can't do that. So you get this handy dandy little standy. And it does just go in right across there on that tail section, and it will in fact hold it up like so. And I can't get far enough away to get the whole thing in shot. There we go. So that is actually the Double O XN riser, XN Double O riser, whichever way you want to say it. Alright, so we're going to go full on Shakey Cam with this one. Try to do a little bit of a walk around here. This is where where a turntable would come in really, really handy. Now actually, I've got this a little bit wrong, because you don't keep the swords on the hips. So I'm going to show you something here. Also, I was going to do this earlier. So the little part we took off from the side of the sword, because, you know, if you've got it in Buster Sword mode, you can totally store it down here where you can't see. Right down here on the stand. Of course, there's so much in the way I can't even get to it. So you can actually just plug this guy right there. So you actually have storage for that stupid little thingy. Now, if you want to, you can totally pull the swords off the side and have all the weapons contained entirely on the backpack, because that's what we do around here. We just put everything on the backpack. Now you want to take the sword. I've just lost my cord there. Nope. Okay. This is where things get a little complicated. So you can take this down, and you want to open this up. There's a couple slots right there. You want to open the sword a little bit so that the handle is poking out. You got all this lined up, and you can peg it in like so. I can't see. There it goes. And the cool thing is, if you really want to, you can put the beam sabers in there too. And you can turn the handle back. Now, it becomes a problem when you try to fold this guy up. Although, I do believe, because that rotates, you can save yourself some space. So let me get the elbow out of the way and try to close this arm up. And I can already see it's being difficult. So there we go. So if you want to, you can rotate that hand around this way. If you need to, you can move this handle. Otherwise, it's going to be right up underneath that. But you can get an entire weapon system going on. One thing I forgot to point out, guys, the green here and on here and on here, I think is actually a slightly different color. It's almost got like a little more blue in it than the regular Double O riser. Speaking of, we'll move them over and bring in the Double O kind of 7 swords riser variant I've got going on here. So of course I don't have the big swords with him. I've got the other ones down here. So I guess maybe that's where the Buster sword came from, because we had the other one from the 7 swords. So I guess that's how that works. Of course, the Double O itself is the same. Mind you, this is one I've hand painted a little bit, and it's just meh. But this is like our hero suit from last year for Double O-ctober. So this guy is great. This is better to a degree. Now there's something I wanted to see. Now one thing this guy is not doing is actually using the riser parts. So I want to see if it's possible to actually use them with the XN parts attached. So I'm going to put these guys back on here. And mind you, this could be a huge mess. We'll see. Because everything is sort of attached at those parts. So I want to grab, let's pull off the Buster sword parts right quick, just get them out of the way. Go ahead and yank this off. This is going to be weird, guys. Alright, so leave that attached. Sorry, that's my hand you're looking at. I'm going to say no. That you can't quite do that. So there's like way too much going on. You can't even get to the clip. So realistically, it's meant to just be a big, ridiculous backpack. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and put this thing in its XN riser mode, which is going to be a little bit different. So we need to strip it down again, because things are very similarly in the same spots. Actually, you know what? Let's leave these parts on here. So it's just the butt part that's going to change. So we want the legs tilted forward. Honestly, this might not... they don't tell you to change it this way, like connected, but I think it's just as easy, honestly. So we want those pointed forward like so. We got the wings on there just like they should be, and honestly, that's all that does. So you can do it, even though they tell you to do it separately, there's not a whole lot to it. Now, that's your XN O-riser. That's pretty cool, and honestly, it looks a lot, especially back here, really looks like the original Ptolemaeus, doesn't it? I mean, let's see. Pull this back here. Actually, I'll just put it on the screen. It looks a lot like the Ptolemaeus. That can't be a coincidence, right? I'm gonna put the O-riser back here. Sorry, the Double O. I can't talk anymore, guys. This has been a heck of a review already, and it's not even over. Because you can put this thing on a stand if you really want to. Just go ahead and just plug it in like so, and raise up the camera so it's all in frame. So there is the XN O-Riser. That thing is ridiculous. Though part of me would like to see the swords underneath, and I'm sure you can do it, so let's look. That doesn't look bad at all, really. I kind of dig that. Now, if I really want to, let's go even further with it, guys. Because we can put this thing in the hand. And we can have him really decked out. And actually, let's go ahead and we could turn that. Ah, it won't work. Okay. Too much torque. It didn't want to do it. Stupid thing. Alright, let's get to final thoughts, though. And guys, if you're feeling really crazy and you have all of the Double O other versions, you can totally give him all the weapons. So now he's got big giant sword here, big giant sword here, all the swords all over this guy. And, oh wait, I'm missing one. Let's go ahead and give him his other big sword, so we can just call this guy just the ultimate Double O riser. Come on, get in there. Now mind you, I'm doing this with my old school, like one of my first builds was left of this Double O kit, and he is not having it. The ankles are all worn out and stuff. It's kind of funny. Hold on, let's pull the fingers off. Make my life easy. What is happening here that will not function properly, but it is not. It's just flat out not. There went the thumb. What? This Double O is just not having it. He's like, no, I will not cooperate with you in any way. And even the legs are giving out under the sheer weight. It's so ridiculous. Okay, is that the wrong hand? And that is not a thumb. That's not a thumb. That's actually a trigger finger. No wonder I couldn't get it in there. Hell, it doesn't have a hand anymore. It should be pretty easy to do this. There we go. Anything for the final gag, guys. Oh, Jesus. This thing is heavy. Not gonna lie, this right here, if you combine everything all together, all the big swords, the friggin' giant XN Reser pack, everything. It is so friggin' heavy, guys. And let's just throw on the biggest GN sword there was before this, just for good measure. Plug all that in and call it a day, because that is a big ridiculous Double O, guys. That's gonna be it for the Double O XN Riser review, guys. Frankly, this thing is expensive, so if $90 Double O kit is not in your budget, by all means, don't get it. But if you love Double O and you want to have another cool variant of it, albeit a very, very busy and very backpack-heavy version, go for it. And if you already have the 7 Swords version, then you can get this monstrosity happening in your collection as well. Now, I'm not going to display it this way, but this is just absolutely ridiculous. Because it can't stand. Its feet are freaking coming out from under it. It's great. But I'll catch you guys on the next review. Thanks for checking out Double O-ctober. And as I said, this is the end. This was the finale. You guys have been awesome. Make sure you check out all of the Double O-ctober 2017 reviews. As always, I want to thank my patrons. John, Andy, Steve, you guys are awesome. And you guys can catch me next time. Remember, as always, keep on building.